Just going to do do just this top button, this middle button, lower button, middle button. I just think it looks maybe a little bit better. So I was thinking today that the ADL, by the way, if you ever go to the ADL's YouTube page, you will notice that the like and dislike ratio, you can't do. You can't put a thing on that. You can't. You cannot. You cannot put a. Oh, you can't post a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And yeah, these people don't want to deal, I think, with reality. A lot of people don't like them, and they don't like them because they're not transparent. They don't debate the issue. They're a powerful organization that wields its power without much discussion, and they tend to gaslight and tell fabrications, and they have control over the internet. They do not believe in open and honest dialogue, and they do not believe in an open and honest internet. They simply want their power, however that is, you know. There are certain subjects that the ADL has taken very aggressive power over. Now, you'd think it would be Israel, but Israel, I mean, they have pages that criticize Israel. South Africa, however, that's another story. They will aggressively come after you on that. If you talk about race and IQ, if you talk about black on white violence, the ADL will come after you and stop you or strive to stop you from speaking in this digital public square, in this public forum, because they believe what you say is damaging to the public and might cause violence. I believe, I could be wrong, because they don't often debate issues. They mainly censor, and they do so without due process. And it's kind of a funny thing, because the ADL came about because a lynch mob, I forget the person, Leo Frank was his name. He came out, the ADL came about because a person was lynched without, they didn't like the way the court case was going, so a lynch mob came in and took him out of his jail cell and hung him. Now, there's a lot of debate to whether Leo Frank was actually guilty or innocent. The fact of the matter is, he was not. He wasn't tried. He was executed by a group of people, and now, and the ADL thought, this person was being unfairly tried and being unfairly treated. But what do they do? What do they do with social media when people are getting banned? Do they give people due process? I don't think so. So these people are hypocrites. But they have power. They don't have popularity, but they have power. And sometimes when you have power, you don't need popularity. Uh, there are people who live in a household, perhaps with the father or the mother is a tyrant, and all the kids don't like him or her, but they don't need popularity, they have power. There are kingdoms and regimes where it may not have popular support, but they simply have power, and that's what I see the ADL as. They just simply have power. They don't have popular support, but what the ADL has is just plain simple power. What they say goes, and it's largely without question. They'll debate a few times, but on average, not really. If they think you're a white supremacist, they decide what is hateful speech and hateful conduct, and they decide what is racist and what isn't. They get to make all of those decisions. And let's not forget the SPLC. They get to make all those decisions today without uh, without your consent. One of the reasons I'm on this thing, and I mention this all the time, is I believe that is the number one reason to get your show, your YouTube channel taken down if it's considered hate speech, and there are a few things that you're not allowed to say. There are certain protected groups that you can't say anything about, but other groups are allowed to say whatever they want. It's kind of not necessarily in the spirit, I guess, of equal protection under the law. You're not your psyche and your feelings are not necessary. If you're a person of European descent, and this is not only in America, this seems to be all over the Anglosphere. Your feelings are not necessarily protected. Your psyche is not protected. You're considered, I guess, the worst thing around. But all others, they can say and do whatever they want, and we can't really examine the facts because these are the facts, and this is the way it is. At least it looks that way, you know. So anyway, we're all human beings. I mean, we're all human beings. We're trying to survive in the best manner in which we can, and trying to survive. At least my body is basically not necessarily built for, or my appetite anyway, is not necessarily built for this modern society because I can get food at any time, but I'm type 2 diabetic and I can't necessarily control my appetite to the best of my ability. Uh, I have, however, been able to improve each day. Yesterday was not such a good day. I was really exhausted and tired, and it was due to the fact that I ate too much. People should be disciplined, and that wasn't something that I followed. So I kind of relapsed back into my old habits. And again, South Africa seems to be a real mess right now, and there's a lot of misbehavior and mistreatment of all people there, because anytime you deal with fanaticism, all people suffer under fanaticism, whether it's on the so-called right or left. Fanaticism is fanaticism, no matter who does it, and I think people should kind of stand up against it. And right now, we're under a pandemic, and we can't even talk openly and honestly about what is the best solution to this problem because people will shut you down. I, for one, believe in getting the jab. Others do not, but they should be open to talking about it. And the mainstream media has told so many gaslighting untruths that when they do tell a truth, people look at it with the suspect. When you say um, mostly peaceful protest, and once a protest turns violent, they used to just call it a riot. They never called it mostly peaceful. That's kind of absurd because, of course, most of the protesters are there to be peaceful, but again, that's not the way we've ever defined uh, a riot. Most of the people there are around are not committing the riot, but again, the few people that are, and these riots, by the way, were a lot of people. These riots, I think, were the largest in our nation, and they also were around the world where we had riots. Primarily, like I said, in the Anglosphere, you had riots in the UK. So it's kind of silly to me because most of the people in the UK didn't come there on slave ships. They came there on immigrant ships. They immigrated to the UK, and now they're complaining how bad it is for them. Uh, Instead of being grateful to being there and them getting a home. The same thing with Australia. Instead of being grateful to being there and being the most noble citizens they can be, you have people who basically break the law and complain on how bad the people are, and they get defamed. Kind of a kind of I would say the S word, but I'm going to try not to swear today. But it's really kind of dishonorable and bad, you know. You think about it; these people are acting on pure emotion and ego, and no one tries to deflate that, like by asking it questions, and they won't allow you, they won't let you ask questions. I can go further into detail on that, but I won't. I'm going to save for another time. But I believe for me right now, ego is man's most powerful narcotic. And right now, there are groups in power that are basically they are overdosing on ego, or they're making us overdose on their ego, and we're feeling the effects on that. And I'm just hoping at some point we can just have a real, like politicians will just say, have a real and honest discussion, and sometimes just say, you know what, I don't know what the best solution is to this problem, or there's going to have to be trade-offs, and not necessarily the trade-offs you're going to like, but there are going to be trade-offs, and we cannot get to the reality. I mean, for me, America is where I live. I think other countries that just talk about reality and the trade-offs that have to happen, that is the best solution. But of course, emotion gets entangled in it, and people's ego get entangled in it. I think that the ADL is a very egotistical and egocentric organization that does not want debate and acts demagoguery about that they know what is best and what is not, and it's unpopular. That's why they don't have their. If they were up front, they would have their comments. They would not have disabled their comments, and they would not have disabled the like to dislike ratio. Uh, if what you're saying, and if what you're saying is considered truthful and honest, but they don't consider you a truthful and honest or noble organization. And there are Jewish organizations out there that don't have the dislike, they don't disable the dislike and to like ratio, and most people agree with them. So, yeah, you're, anyway, and this isn't the only organization that does that, and individuals that do that too. You're kind of phony. You know what you're saying isn't popular. I mean, yeah, well, anyway, this has been Brian with Transparency and Merit. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, particularly if you disagree. And by the way, a lot of my stuff has large like to dislike ratios. It's over the top. So there are a lot of people that don't like me, and that's fine. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and also visit our website, transparencyandmerit.com. Thank you for listening.